Hey guys, so today what I'm going to be showing you is how to strip down a barrel of its flavor, rehydrate it, and also put a cleaning solution in it. So with this video, what you'll basically see is I have my barrel that I used in my previous videos, 5-gallon barrel. It was originally a bourbon barrel from a distiller in Baltimore. I already did 2 of my videos with 2 stouts in it. Now I basically want to strip out all the bourbon flavor. I'm going to do a saison in it, and then I'm going to turn this into a souring barrel. So what I'm going to do today, this barrel has sat for close to, I want to say it's probably sat for at least 4 or 5 months at this point. I don't think there's much in it. I did leave a little bit of beer in there just to keep it hydrated, but other than that, there's really nothing in it. So it may have dried out, it may have shrunk a little bit. So we're going to first try to rehydrate all the staves, and we're also going to rinse the inside. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a holding solution in it, because what I got going on now, I just brewed a saison this yesterday actually, and I'm going to let it ferment in my SS Brewtech, and then I'm going to secondary it in this barrel. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a holding solution until then, and then I will show you how to get rid of the holding solution and pitch the beer. So let's get this outside, and we're going to rinse it out real good first. Okay guys, so here's what the inside of the barrel's looking like. You can see it's pretty dried out in there. Not really much going on. That's still the spirals that they put in. It's going to be hard for me to remove those, so I'm just going to leave them. Smell-wise, it still just smells like bourbon and stout, so it's looking pretty good. So let me get the hose ready for this. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here is we're going to just fill this bad boy up with some water. So you can see, I'm just going to fill that all the way up. And then we're going to drain this probably 3 or 4 times. We're just going to try to get all the bourbon out of this as much as we can. You will lose a little bit of the oak flavor, but it shouldn't be too excessive. We'll see if this is leaking at all. Right now it looks pretty good. I'm going to let this sit at first to see if I have any leaks. I think I have one coming in right there. So what we're going to do, leave a little bit of this water in there before we do anything else. So let me finish the fill in this and we'll check for leaks. Okay, so we just filled it, and I actually already dumped it for the first time. You can see I was actually able to get all of the extra wood out. It all floated to the top, so this is a good way to get some of your wood out. Let's see how much I have left in there. So it looks like just one more spiral and the wheel from when they cut the hole. You can see the charring's still pretty good in there. Not too much going on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this a couple more times and try to get as much gunk out of here as I can and let this rehydrate, and then I will show you what we're going to do with the holding solution. Okay, so we're all filled up again. You can actually see I was able to get that wood piece out. I just used a pair of needle noses to rip it through. So there's nothing left in there. So you can see the water level. One thing you want to do to check for leaks is make sure that there's nothing coming out. Right now I see a little bit of water pooling right here. I'm not sure if that's just from the outside of the barrel or if it's from the inside, but I don't see anything really dripping. You can see here, pretty good. Pretty good. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to let this water level sit here and see if it starts to go down. If it goes down, then obviously we're still looking at a leak. So I'm going to do this for a little bit, let this rehydrate, and then we will keep dumping. Basically what you want to do is dump until there's no more spirit smell. So whatever spirit was in your barrel, just dump it until you don't want any more. Now obviously if you are trying to continue to bourbon barrel age or whiskey barrel age or whatever was in your barrel, you do not need to do this, and you actually shouldn't, because you will strip a lot of the flavor. So this is just what I'm doing again, because I'm doing a bourbonless saison that I'm going to age in here. So I'm going to watch that level for a little bit, and then we will get back. So one thing I want to make sure you guys are aware of, I'm doing this with cold water, so it's going to take a little longer. You can always do this with hot water. The hot water is going to swell it a lot quicker. If there is a leak and I can't get it stopped, that's what I'll do. I'm only using cold water just because that's all I have for my hose outside. So If this ends up not working, or the leak, if there is a leak and it continues, I'm just going to use hot water to swell it. It will do it much quicker. Cold water works just as well. So that's just wanted to throw that out there, so that way if anybody's trying to do this a lot quicker or knows a different way, this is just the way I tried it. It's my first time doing it, so right now we're that level is dropping a little bit, so we're going to dump it one more time, and then I'm going to probably try the hot water. So I will get back to you when we get this leak to stop. Okay, so now we have dumped for the final time before the holding solution. So you can see most of the stuff is out of here. Charring still present. So it looks pretty good. So one thing you can do with this is check your bands. If your bands are loose or they've moved at all, you're going to want to get these closer and get them as tight as possible. One thing you can do is just use almost like a chisel and kind of hammer them over, just to get these tight. You want these as tight as possible, so make sure you always check those. The number one place you're going to have leaks is going to be on the face, so always check around there. There is barrel wax you can use if you have a leak that just won't stop. So if you can find your leak, that's what you want to do. Use some kind of barrel wax or paraffin wax, that works as well. So that's just your thoughts there. So let's go get the holding solution ready and get this filled. Okay, so now we're ready to prepare the storage solution. So we have here some potassium metabosulfite and some citric acid. Basically what this does is it's going to provide a sanitary solution to keep in the barrel that will keep it hydrated, but it will also prevent any bugs from growing. Once I make this a sour barrel, I will not need to do this step because it will actually kill the stuff I want growing in it. This is strictly just a step you do when you want to do clean beers, or you want to rehydrate a barrel that has not had any bacteria in it yet. So basically what we're going to do here, you need 1.5 teaspoons of potassium metabosulfite to every 1 teaspoon of citric acid. You're going to mix that per gallon in the barrel. So a 5-gallon barrel, you need you're going to need 5 teaspoons of citric, and you're going to need about 7 teaspoons of potassium metabosulfite. So let me mix this up and get it ready. Alright, so we have all of our powder mixed here. This is 1 gallon of hot water. So I'm going to dissolve this inside of that. I'm going to grab a spoon. So I'll just stir this until that dissolves, and then what I'm doing over here is I'm currently filling the barrel 2/3 of the way full with some warm water, and then I will pour this on top of that. Alright, so let me finish this up. Okay, now we're all mixed up. I'm going to pour this into the barrel on top of the water that's already in there. I will say this is very, very potent stuff. Make sure you're in an area of well ventilation. The sulfur comes out really a lot from the metabosulfite, and so does the citric acid. So just make sure you're in a really good ventilated area. And if this stuff gets on your floors or your counters, wipe it up immediately. It can tear right through it. So we're going to put this right in and then top it off. Alright, so now we have our storage solution inside. We're topping it off with some cold water. No, I don't know if there's a reason to add in cold water on top. That's just what the article that I went off of said. So I'm going to finish filling this and then get it ready to sit. And I'll check back in with you guys. Okay, so we have our barrel filled with our storage solution. I'm now just going to put the bung back in. Make sure that's in there pretty good. So a few things I noticed while doing this. Make sure you don't just add the citric acid and the metabosulfite into the barrel, because you're not going to be able to stir it. It did take a little bit of stirring to get it to fully dissolve, so I would definitely not do that. Again, make sure you're in an area of well ventilation. I'm still coughing up a little bit from that. Hopefully it's not any poisonous gas. I highly doubt it would be, but you never know. So yeah, just that's it so far. So we can let this sit. The article I used is from Brew Your Own magazine. I'll add a link to that in the video. Basically, this is just your basic maintenance. You can leave this sit as long as you need to. Just you're going to need to top it off. The article says to top off every month with more storage solution. So this is actually only going to sit for probably about a week or two for me. I use this more as a cleaning than anything else. And then after this, it'll be a souring barrel, so I won't need to worry about doing this anymore. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. This is the first time I've done this. I did a lot of research on it first. So I can answer what I can for you. If not, I have no problem looking some stuff up. So cheers, and look out for my video coming up next. Okay guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking cleaning solution out of the barrel to get ready to put a Saison into the barrel for aging with Brett. So you can just see inside, water's still in there. A little foamy, nothing crazy. So the holding solution's been in there for a little over a week. You can hold this for a lot longer. So I'm just going to dump this. You can see color. It's going to be that brown color from the bourbon and all the other stuff it's dripping from the wood, which I want out of there. So I'm turning this into a clean barrel again. So what we're going to be doing, just getting rid of this holding solution. Some articles say you can actually save it. I don't want to save it. I'm probably not going to be using it that much more. I'm going to keep this with beer in it. So we're going to get rid of the holding solution now. So once this is out, we're going to do a real good rinse, because that stuff, the sulfur and the citric acid have basically worked their way into the wood, so you want to get all of that out. Okay. Now we should be close to dry. Let's see what it looks like inside. Okay, so you can see it's pretty clean inside. No real molds or funguses or anything like that, so pretty good. So let's get this rinsed. We're going to try to rinse out as much of that holding solution as we can. Okay, so I'm running some water through this now, and basically what I'm going to do is put this hose all the way into the bottom. And we're just going to have this run for about a minute. Then I'm going to dump it, and I'm going to refill it about 3 times. I want to get as much of that holding solution out as I can. You don't want that stuff in your beer. It's just going to make it taste awful. So we're going to do this. It's also a good way to make sure, again, you don't have any leaks, which you shouldn't after having the holding solution in there. So I'm going to have this run for about a minute, and then we're going to dump it 3 times. And then by then it should be nice and clean and ready to go. Okay, so we have now drained it and dumped it about 3 or 4 times. Looks pretty clean inside. You can see some of the charring starting to leave, but that's okay. Everything looks good. No, nothing real nasty on the sides, anything like that. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to get all that water out that I can, and then we're going to get the beer ready. So I know a couple questions are going to arise right off the bat. Why did you use hose water? You didn't use anything sanitized. So again, with this barrel, I'm getting ready to put some Saison in there with Brett. So it's going to be a souring barrel now anyway. Everything I've read, this is just the way they clean it. They say to rinse it a lot. You don't want any of that holding solution because it's the citric acid and sulfur. It's just going to be nasty in your beer. I'm sure you could probably throw some Star San in there at the end. It shouldn't hurt the beer or anything like that. I think the biggest thing they're worried about is anything leaching into the wood. So Star San, I can't imagine hurting it. So if you are going to put a clean beer in here, then you shouldn't have to worry about that. Okay, so now we are just transferring the clean beer right into the barrel. And then we're going to pitch some Brett on top of that. Alright, so the Saison's in. That's just bubbles on the top from the transfer. Nothing to worry about. We have about 5 gallons in there. We're going to pitch the Brett strain in, which I have right here. So here's the Brett strain we're going to use. Brettanomyces bruxellensis. So let me open this up. Okay, so we have our Brett strain going in. Alright, then we're just going to put the bung on this. And just get an airlock. So the good thing when you pitch Brett is it will start to ferment again. It's going to eat up a lot of those complex sugars, and it's going to make a pellicle. So any of that oxygen that's in the transfer in the barrel is going to get eaten up. One of the good things about Brett when you do bottling is that it will eat up any of the residual oxygen. So kind of keep the beers fresher. So this will start fermenting. That's why I put the airlock back on it. Shouldn't do much. That beer was only at 1.003, so it was pretty dry to begin with. So that Brett will probably be done in a couple weeks. So I'll do a couple taste tests, and I'll see if the pellicle forms. But essentially, that is what you need to do when you clean a barrel and get ready to reuse it. So again, I did that for a sour beer, but you can do that for clean as well. The only step I would add is maybe a little bit of Star San, but that's really it. So that's how you clean a barrel. Any questions, let me know. I will post some follow-up videos on how this beer, how the pellicle's forming, and then how it tastes. So be on the lookout for that.